Yesterday was World Storytelling Day. You might have missed the celebrations, but dozens of people gathered in Subiaco to honour the day and talk. And they told stories, not by updating blogs or posting on Facebook. They told stories by sharing them face to face. How's that for a concept? Lisa Evans is a speaker coach and she joins me now. Lisa, g'day.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you here, Lisa. In fact, from the moment you bounced into this room, I just sensed this sort of electricity and vibrancy, and you like a talk.
I do, absolutely, and I love a story most of all.
Tell me about celebrating World Storytelling Day. Why are you involved in it? And do you worry a little that some of us have lost the art?
Well, World Storytelling Day is an annual global event where people around the world come together with the purpose of sharing the art of storytelling. And over 19 countries participated yesterday, telling stories at the same time. So it's celebrated on the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, and for us in the South on our first day of autumn. It was just fantastic to be able to bring together a group of Perth business people to share their stories live in front of an audience. It was a fantastic moment, and Stories from the Heart is all about creating a safe and supportive place where people can come along and share deep and personal stories with the purpose of empowering and inspiring others to do the same.
So the best storytelling is the most honest and from the heart, but you have to feel comfortable and safe that you're in the right environment to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. The best stories are told without slides, without notes, directly from the heart, so that you can really connect in an authentic way with the people that you're sharing a story with.
What were some of the things that people were talking about yesterday?
We had a range of stories, Jeff. We had stories around love, around lost love, around fear, around overcoming obstacles and challenges, and a very poignant story around forgiveness.
And those who were telling the stories, how had you convinced them to do so?
I asked them and they said, we're on board. We'd love to have a go. Yeah, everybody was on board with the concept, and were really a little bit nervous but super excited about the opportunity.
Okay. Now, I ask people to do this pretty much every day on the program because I ask them to reveal things of themselves. Folks, I might even give you a few moments now if you would like to. Yesterday was World Storytelling Day. Is there something that you would like to tell us about yourselves that you would simply like to share? Is it about telling people things, or is it about sharing yourself with others, do you think?
I think it's a bit of both. It's about using a personal story in a way that has a message, and that message is what people take away as a form of inspiration. So throughout learning our experiences and life stories, particularly those overcoming challenges, we have a lesson learned, and that lesson learned we can then tell the audience so that they can then relate to that in a way. So it's about relating and definitely sharing.
I'm interested when you talk about overcoming challenges. Tell us about your passion for this and from where it comes.
Yeah, my passion stemmed from a life-changing event. So I woke up one morning and lost most of my hearing due to a virus. So as a result of that, I had to leave my career as an intensive care midwife, the only career I'd ever known. I was fortunate enough to get on a research trial here in Perth, and I got a Cochlear implant. And that was the beginning of my very long journey of rehabilitation, learning to hear and speak all over again with the use of a Cochlear implant. And that was the start of my public speaking journey.
Wow.
I jumped into public speaking so that I could learn to get familiar and use my voice again, retrain my brain to hear with the device. And that's when I began to get hooked on speaking and storytelling.
That is a fantastic story, but it is born out of difficult circumstance. How old were you, and can you recall waking up that morning? What did you no longer have available to you?
I was devastated because I was already aged 40 and I had only ever known the career as a midwife. So it meant literally walking away from my career and having to really rediscover myself and what I was going to do, and a long journey into sort of rehabilitating, finding a new career and finding where I sit and how I was going to cope having to...
So, Lisa, what happens when you lose your hearing? What happens to language over time? And can you just sort of take us down that path? I mean, I look at you today and it perhaps explains some things to me. You enunciate beautifully and you speak very beautifully and very carefully. Are you a much more careful speaker than you ever had to be before?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Now, I was left with some residual hearing on one side. So that was a particular challenge for the Cochlear implant because my brain has to merge a synthetic sound that comes in through the device, which is very, very different to human voice, as well as the natural sound. And they do come in at slightly different times. So my brain has to put the two sound waves together. Some days it does it better than others. I do quite often rely on lip reading still. And yeah, I literally woke up and my hearing had gone. All I could hear was a noise, like when you listen into a shower. I knew something was happening. I wasn't sure what was happening, but it was quite a sudden and definitely life-defining moment for me.
My guest is Lisa Evans, who is a speaker coach. She is the woman behind the West Australian celebration of World Storytelling Day yesterday, and I can really understand why. But why did you decide that speaking publicly, I assume, was going to be of such personal benefit to you?
I think it's so empowering to go from a place where, as I was, lacking confidence and being very shy and withdrawn and having to overcome such a challenge that was very difficult for me personally, to be able to then step out on stage and be able to share personal stories and messages that do inspire and entertain others. It's just an amazing skill and one that I just love sharing and helping others to achieve.
What was the first time that you stood up on a stage and told a story? And was it your own story? And what did that feel like? Was it terrifying at the start and then empowering by the end?
Absolutely.
Was
yeah,
it?
Definitely terrifying at the beginning and a huge adrenaline rush at the end of the story. Yeah. I joined Toastmasters 6 years ago, and that was the beginning of my public speaking journey, where I learned, with the support of a great bunch of people here in Perth, to get the confidence to stand up in a supportive, no-fail environment.
What you've been able to do now is find some confidence that was lost, but also you're encouraging more and more people to enjoy the art of storytelling. How would you advise people to begin the process? No one wants it to be born out of bad circumstance. How do you encourage someone to say, just get around with other people, be with other people, be a good listener, and then not be frightened to tell a story?
Yeah, I think you've really said something important there, Jeff. To be a good storyteller, you've got to be a good story listener first. And listening is a very important part of storytelling. And I believe that we all have stories to share, and that some people say, well, I don't have stories to share because my life's just way too ordinary. But I think that the best stories come out of ordinary circumstances, to ordinary people living very ordinary lives, and we all have stories. We just need to dig deep and be brave enough to share them. And I encourage people to start a story bank or a story file. Start collecting your stories and think about the lesson learned under those circumstances and how you can use that to share with others so that they can also feel a connection and they feel as though they can relate to that situation.
Do you think the problem with a lot of people is that they feel, as you say, they don't put much worth on their own story, so they don't think it's worth sharing? They feel vulnerable that they're going to be judged or criticised by talking candidly about something?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that it has to be, real stories are the best stories. You know, we are unique and we are the only ones able to tell our own story. And I think that the authenticity is a very incredible thing, to be able to share that in a way that does empower others is a really wonderful
And also
skill.
to remind people that their experience is a shared experience. We do this all the time. This is our aspiration on this program, to tell people that they're not alone with whatever they're experiencing, and that there is a thing called the human condition, and we all relate to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in today. I think it's a great idea, and your interest in it, and now your ability to help other people, Lisa, is wonderful. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
Lisa Evans.